Hey guys, my name is Mandeep Patel, and then you are watching Concept Works. In today's video, we will be talking about OneDrive data migration between one tenant to another tenant, which is required in the business scenarios where the companies are getting merged, or there is a business requirement, or there's a compliance requirement to migrate the data between one Microsoft tenant to another Microsoft tenant. Before this, I have also published another video, which is mailbox migration between one tenant to another tenant. You can go to my channel and you will see the first two videos, which will help you migrating your mailbox data as well. So, in those videos, there were a lot of requests that people are looking, to migrate the OneDrive data and SharePoint data as well, since the mailbox are migrated, but at the same time they want to migrate the OneDrive data and the SharePoint data as well, right? So this with that, we'll go ahead and then I'll give you a small demonstration today, that how can you migrate the OneDrive and SharePoint data between your source tenant to the destination tenant. Okay, so let's go ahead. I'll give you a small brief about my source tenant. This is my source tenant, and if you see here, I'm logged in with admin at the rate cloud red team. So red team is my source tenant, and admin at the rate cloud blue team is my destination tenant. So source is red, destination is blue. Now you'll see some demo accounts that I have created in the destination and in source as well, right? So if I log in one of my source user, okay, so I've got some three folders, and each folder has got four items in that. So one is test excel file, test ppd file, onedrive txt, and doc. This is just for the reference, that this is just to show that that data can be migrated between your source and the destination tenant. Okay, so this is the example of a one user. Similarly, the data is being uploaded, the test data is being uploaded, the same data has been uploaded on user 2, 3, 4, and 5 as well. Okay. And on the destination side, I've got this user, again, user 1. This time you're seeing cloud blue team dot on microsoft.com, which means you'll see the data exactly moving from the source user, which is here, to the destination user, which is here. So this is what we are going to achieve, and then we will be moving this data not for only for one user. We'll be using it for all the five users. Along with that, we'll also move one of the SharePoint website as an example. So to migrate this data between source and destination, we will be okay. So before that, I'll show you the test data in my test migration website here, which is my SharePoint admin, and this is SharePoint test site. If you want to see the data, this is again example that I told you, that this is a source tenant, again cloud red team, and there are few documents which are updated here. So demo folder 1, SharePoint 2, SharePoint 3, and then inside that there are same details, what we were there, what were there in a OneDrive as well. So this is just for the reference. Now this is Azure AD, but let's go to the tool that we'll be using to migrate this data, and the tool is called Mover. So mover.io is the URL. So this is where you'll have to go and then migrate the data between your source to destination Microsoft tenant. Mover.io also supports a data migration, OneDrive data migration from different sources as well right now. As of now, Mover is supported by Microsoft, which means if you have any issues or problems, you can actually raise a ticket to Microsoft on the partner portal, and then you can get the right support if required. So once you're on this URL, you'll have to log in with global admin credentials. It doesn't matter if it is source or the destination tenant. So in my case, I'll be using the destination tenant, which is my admin at the rate cloudblueteam dot on Microsoft.com. Once you'll click on login, um, of course, you'll have to put the credentials. This is in my cache, so that is the reason it is not asking for the further credentials. So you'll land up here under the migration manager. With this, you'll have to select the source and then select the destination, and then after this, you can further continue your steps to migrate your OneDrive and SharePoint data. Okay. Um, so the idea is basically once you'll select the source, which means the source tenant, and then it will create an application in your Azure Active Directory, which will uh, you'll have to give certain permissions to that particular application, and this is an automated process, so you don't have to bother much. It is just that one time you'll have to go to Azure Active Directory. So let's do that. Once again, I'm connecting the source tenant. There are multiple options, as I said, that Mover supports a multiple data migration between multiple sources. It can be from Box or Dropbox or Google, OneDrive. I have not migrated those, but then I migrated the OneDrive consumer as well. So if you want to migrate the single user, then you can go for this. Otherwise, if you have multiple users in OneDrive, you'll choose this, and then for SharePoint also you'll go for this. So let's click on authorize, and then I'll also say that this is my source tenant, just for my understanding. And then once you'll click on authorize, it will take its own sweet time, and then you'll have to authenticate, and then it okay. So now the application is getting created. Now if you see, a global admin needs to be authorized in Office to remove an application in your Azure tenant. So to do so, click here. So we'll click here, and then you can close the other one. So we were in the source tenant view, connecting the source tenant once again. So click here, and it will take us to Azure Active Directory, and then I believe it will take us to the application as well. So this is the application which got created now. You can see the data as well, right? So you will click on this application, and then under permissions, you'll go to permissions, and under permissions, you'll grant admin consent for Cloud Red. This is where you click, and then it'll ask the credentials once again, and then just ensure that you're clicking the right user, and then it will read all the groups, user profiles, and then site collections, which is for your SharePoint, and then read write files, because it has to read, then only it can write. So basically this is for your reading and writing the OneDrive data. So you'll accept this, and this is done. After this, you're going back here and mover application, and you'll say reauthorize. So once you click on reauthorize, ensure that the display name remains same. You'll click on authorize here, and the source tenant. So now you will see that the source tenant is connected. It will show that what all is seen in your user list. So I told you that you have got 5 users plus one admin, so total 6, and 10 SPOs, which includes a multiple personal website for OneDrive, which means you understand that OneDrive is a part of SharePoint, right? So each individual will have their shared drives, their personal drives, Then you will have the site that we have created. This URL also will be part of it. The communication site will be a part of it. So all these sites, are there. So that's how it is showing our source tenant. Okay, so now we need to select the destination tenant this time. So we can close this Azure AD part. Let's not close this. Now we are talking about destination connector. So let's authorize a destination tenant. So here I'll just say destination, and then I'll click on authorize. This is just for my reference that which one is source tenant and which one is destination tenant. Our destination tenant was Cloud Blue Team, so I'll click on that. Since the credentials are there in cache, it will take it from there, and I'm sure that it'll give me the same error what we have seen earlier. After this, the same thing we'll have to do, that we'll have to log in with the global admin, and then we'll see the similar application what we have seen earlier in Azure Active Directory, and then we'll have to grant the admin consent, and after that we'll come back to this mover application. So we are in all applications. I will go to Office 365 mover, and we'll go to permissions, and we'll say grant admin consent for Cloud Blue, and we'll log in with Cloud Blue. I will have to accept the permissions request, and as of now it is delegated. Once this is done, okay, once this is done, so now we can close this, and then we'll click on reauthorize and authorize again. So we are talking about the destination to reauthorize. Here we go. So now if you see, we have got this option highlighted, and it is asking us to continue the migration setup. So if you see, before this, it also says, please note that Office 365 OneDrive SharePoint has a path length limitation. Our pre-scan will help identify these. Please contact support already. So I'm not going to do that right now. But then what I'll have to do is I'll have to select the source tenant. I'll say connect here. Okay. And I'll say connect destination, and then I'll say continue migration setup. Okay, this can be closed. Now what you will do is you can click on add users. Okay, now what this will do is it will scan the users from the source tenant. So we'll click on add users, automatically discover and add users, or if we have the user list we can upload that as well. So let it scan. It will pop up with a list of user, where it will show us the complete details of user data. So now if you see, this data is for some shared documents. You understand OneDrive has got some shared documents which is definitely for some user, but then it is not linked as well. So double click share https colon slash slash is for unknown directories, but then you slash single slash user and the complete user FQDN, the complete name is given here. So we'll have to map these users one by one. And to do that, we will not miss any of these. And that is very important. So, and if you feel that any um, data which is not matching, it is very important to match that. Otherwise, the migration will fail for the particular user. Okay. So let's start with user 4, and then we will say edit source. We are doing this just to ensure that we can read the data for the source user. And we'll say the save source path, and on the destination, we'll click once again, we'll say edit destination. We should be able to see the OneDrive data, OneDrive path, which is there, and then we'll say save destination. Okay. Now, so user 4 is done. So we'll not touch this. No shared documents will be touched. I don't want to touch this either. Here is user 2. So I'll go back and say edit source. I'm sure that we should be able to read the content, but then still save source path. And the idea is to see whether the tool is able to reach the source and the destination path. Okay, so we'll say save destination path. Then user 1 and user 1 from OneDrive. So we did for this. Let's go to destination folder here as well. Save destination path for user 1, and you can, in fact, you can filter the users as well if you want. So sorry user, remove filter, user 1. So you can see only user 1 now. So that is also a better approach. So one by one you can, go, do we need this, do we need this, not really. So now user 2, all the unnecessary things will not be listed here. Let's go edit source. Let's read the content. Can we read this? Okay, yeah, we can read this. Now edit destination. Can we read the content? This one is coming. So once the data is migrated, you will see this folder there. So I'll save this destination. Okay, now remove the filter and user 3. Edit source. So okay, this is a root directory, and then this one, edit destination. Oh wow, so we don't see this. So we were on user 3. Okay, so we'll have to find out the drive for user 3 now. 4, 2, 1, admin. So now what this mean is user 3 is having some problem with their OneDrive data or OneDrive license probably. That can be an issue, but then let's see something else is there. Okay, so I see this and this from OneDrive. So let's not touch this. Let's touch this in that case. So I'll say edit source and I'll say save this as a source path. Okay, and let's check the destination. There is some problem actually with this particular license, I believe. I don't see user 3 is in a readable format. Let's try once again here. There's some problem. So let's not consider user 3 for this migration. We'll not migrate that. So we'll talk about user 4 now. User 4 was mapped. So once again, we'll check this if we are able to reach the folder, which is fine. We can save this as a destination. Finally, we'll go for user 5. And user 5 will see the edit source, and then can we see the data here? Good. So yeah, save source path once again and edit the destination. Can we see the destination as well? Yeah, we can see the save destination. So we'll say save destination. One last thing that we will do is we created this test migration site as well. So let's check this also. So as of now, if you see, I've got a source path, but I don't have any destination right now. So let's create the destination here. Let's see whether we can have this as a destination also in SharePoint. Okay, so I'm logging into the SharePoint site. Oh, but actually, it will create the directory also, as far as I understand. So let's do that. Let's leave it as it is, and then what we will do is we'll remove these filters. Let's select user 1, user 2, user 3 had some problems, user 4, and user 5 that we mapped. Okay, and you were talking about test migration also, right? So this one. Okay, so these 5 users that we have selected plus a OneDrive, sorry, SharePoint site as well. Now, after selecting the right users, validating the data, you'll click on start migrating users. I don't think I've left anything here. But then if there is anything, we'll get some errors, so we'll get to know what it is. So let's start this migration. User with no destination set will not be transferred. Okay, good. So we have some challenge here. So let's uncheck this. We'll see this how it goes later. Or let's try to fix it here. I know what needs to be done here. To address this, actually, I'll have to create a site on the destination tenant here under SharePoint, and then I will have to give the site to site reference that this is my source and this is my destination site as well. And then I'll select, and then it will be migrating the data. So let's not do it. Let's not consider this. So once again, user 4, user 3 had some issues, user 2, user 1, and user 5. Total, we are talking about 4 users right now because user 3 had some issues in terms of licensing. So we'll click on start migrating users. So you can do it right now, or we can schedule this, and we'll have to agree on movers terms and conditions. Read that if you want. So now the dashboard itself will show you that what is running, what is completed, and what is failure as well. So we might have some failure also, which I'm, the last thing that I'm expecting after checking all these. So it will show the stage as well, that this is running, this is running, this is running, and this is also running. After some time, it will show you the data moved as well, that how much data is moved, and it will show you the further results in total as well. So let's wait for, okay, good. So file failed, failed, all of them are failed. No, not failed actually, all of them are moved. So 12 files, 12 files, and so now we were full time, we were there on the screen. So let's go back and see the my destination OneDrive, and here we go. So user one at Cloud Blue Team, and you'll see that these were the 4 items modified by user one at Cloud Red Team, which was the before migration, because you see that we are on Cloud Blue Team right now, and the files are also there inside. So all the XLS file, PPTX, TXT, and doc. And then you also see the one was this last modified. Today we are sitting on 5th of January, and these files were modified on December 11th, which also means that these files are actually migrated from the source tenant. We can also validate another user as well. So let's go and validate another user now. For that, so source is source. We will not disturb this. So let's log out the source now. We're concerned about the destination. So let's go back, and am I on Chrome here? Okay. Yeah. Okay, let's go to incognito. User one we have checked. So user two at the rate cloud blue team, and I will put the credentials for the user. Okay. Microsoft is glad that we are here. So we need to validate the OneDrive data now, which you see here on the root folder, and then all you see is the new directories are created, modified when 3 minutes ago, modified by SharePoint app. Okay, sorry. Is this the one? Actually, this is the one, I believe. I'm deleted the data. Let's validate another user. So we're logging in with not deep user 4 at the rate. What is wrong here? Now let's see if user 4 has got the entire data. So we are there in OneDrive now. I see the data, and then again, this is modified, of course, on December 11th, modified by Cloud Red team, and the data is there inside this folder, and the other folder, and on the third folder also. Once you understand that the entire data is migrated, my suggestion is don't confuse, don't get confused with a huge number of lists. My suggestion is to migrate 5 users at one time so that you'll migrate the data and you'll validate that it has been migrated, and then all the data has come as well. It doesn't take much time, and then also it depends on the size of the data as well. So move it carefully. One last thing, that the tool which we are talking about, which is movers.io, um, as far as I understand, that this tool will be obsoleted very soon as per Microsoft, um, um, since they are bringing up a purchase license kind of services to migrate OneDrive data. So with that, before ending the video, what you will do is, once the migration is done, so after this, you will click on delete migration, and then the comments that you want to put in, or whatever you feel like, and then you click on delete. So this is done. You can go to admin, log out. You can log this out, and after this, data is validated. Now what you'll do is, you'll go to Azure Active Directory on the source tenant, and you'll go to Azure Active Directory on the destination tenant. You'll click on the application, and under properties, you will delete this application, so that whatever permissions we have given on the destination side after the migration, since we don't need this application as well, and we don't need this permissions to be assigned to a third party applications which we have used during the migration, since it has a lot of required permissions right now. So and then same on the source side as well, you should do the changes here as well. Delete the application after going to the same path. So that was OneDrive data migration, and then I hope the video was helpful. Next video will be coming up with something else, which will be exciting, which is unknown kind of problems in IT admin or cloud admin or Citrix admins or the Office 365 administrators. I'll bring something new once again. Probably my topic will be around multi-factor authentication this time. So this is what I'll try. I hope the video was helpful. I advise you guys to like and subscribe the channel, put a comment. If there's any questions, I always reply my viewers. There are a few questions which were asked earlier, and then which was OneDrive related migration. So this is what I have came up with after a lot of research. So yeah, thank you so much, guys. Take care. Bye bye. See you again.